Wampanoag Perspective is a project that really began back in 2019 as a collaboration between Bassetlaw Museum and Smoke Signals, wanting to share a more holistic version of history. So the history of this project is really quite a complex one in some ways, and on the other hand it's quite simple. It's really about friendship and connection. So when we were putting the Pilgrims Gallery information together, we worked quite closely with the Smoke Signals team and with Stephen Peters, who's come over this week. The idea was shared that we might be able to create a wetu in the museum gardens and people would be able to engage with the history through that piece of art.
A wetu is a traditional Wampanoag home. In the summers, we would live in a wetu that's similar in size to the one that we've created for the museum. That wetu in the summer would have been covered with reeds that were woven together to keep the home cool. In the winter, we'd move towards a more permanent settlement further inland that was away from the harsh weather and nor'easters that can come through the area. Those winter homes would have been much larger than the wetu. They could be up to 100 feet in length, and they would have many families that would live in it. So you might have 6 fires, and around each fire would be a family.
So originally, the Wampanoag team were going to come over during 2020, the 400th anniversary of the Mayflower's arrival. Unfortunately, 2020 had other plans with COVID taking place.
The coronavirus.
COVID in hospitals across the UK.
Stay at home. Almost 100,000 people are catching coronavirus every day.
From this evening, I must give the British people a very simple instruction. You must stay at home.
Well, welcome to Bassetlaw Museum, and here we are in our World War II gallery, and you'll notice that there's no visitors here because we are closed because it's part of the COVID-19 lockdown phase. So we're very disappointed. We had expected that at this time we would have lots of visitors all coming to see our wetu and coming to visit the Pilgrim Gallery, but unfortunately there's no one here but us. We had got summer activities planned, so there would be an activity going on every day for families during the summer holidays, as well as other special events for families and grown-ups who don't have children. But unfortunately we are now all on hold.
Here we are in the Pilgrims Gallery, which is part of the Pilgrim Routes Heritage Lottery funded project. We were due to host the visit of the Wampanoag in this summer period. Unfortunately, due to the coronavirus, we've not been able to host them this year. We've been very excited when we got the decision from Arts Council in March that they'd be able to come, and then very disappointed as we realised they couldn't come this June. We thought perhaps they'd be able to join us in September for the building of the wetu and sharing our platform to tell their story. Unfortunately, that wasn't possible. We thought perhaps September they could join us, but now it looks like they're going to be able to come in 2021, which thankfully still holds resonance as it's the 400th anniversary of the first Thanksgiving, where the Pilgrims and the Wampanoag shared a feast and gave thanks for their survival. Although we are very disappointed that they can't join us this year, we're very much looking forward to working with them and building the project into next year, and very grateful to Arts Council for allowing the project to go ahead and giving us this wonderful funding. Planning an international project during a pandemic is a challenge I didn't expect to be facing, and brought up all kinds of issues that we weren't expecting, issues with supplies being delayed across the ocean, but also the sudden changes to travel regulations from both countries. It was a bit touch and go for a while, but I'm delighted that we've been able to make it happen. Connection between Bassetlaw and the Wampanoag Nation is really that local separatists and pilgrims ended up in their land, and the two people formed an alliance which didn't last forever, but without the Wampanoag support, the people from our area probably would not have survived in the harsh conditions they found themselves in 1620. This connection between the two people really means that our histories are very much entwined, and it was really important to us to let the Wampanoag come over here and tell their story in Bassetlaw.
My people come from southeastern Massachusetts. We are best known for being from the nation that welcomed the Pilgrims when they arrived in 1620. There's a lot of history that predates that, but that's what we are best known for. We've come to the Bassetlaw Museum because we want to give people a better understanding of who the Wampanoag people are. We want people to have a better understanding of history that hasn't been told accurately up to this point. And we think that that's important. We think it's important that people understand what occurred in the course of colonizing the United States and the connections that we have with places like Bassetlaw, Plymouth, England, Leiden. We think it's an important connection that we all share. The connection with the Bassetlaw Museum really grew from the Pilgrims coming from this area, and they're wanting to have a better understanding of what happened and where the Pilgrims went afterwards. And certainly on our end, we had a shared interest in understanding where the Pilgrims had come from as well. So it's really a cultural exchange that's taken place. So today we're using, with this wetu, we've used a hemlock wood for the posts that was harvested locally. Traditionally, we would have used a cedar, which is harvested from a cedar swamp. So they live in an extremely moist environment that is constantly running through the long poles. So these long saplings, and they're constantly reaching up through the swamp for the sunlight. So they grow extremely straight, and they are extremely flexible as well, which allows us to make even smaller dome structures than the one that we've built here today.
Hand me that rope, we're gonna get you down on the chair. Whoa! There you go. Snap it. You all right? Right there. Snap. Yep. Okay. We might not get more than, we might not be able to bring it down.
Might not bring it down. All right.
I mean, if the material's only gonna bend what the material's gonna bend.
Well, all right.
How many posts do you normally have?
They harvested 40.
All right.
Yeah.
And what we asked for.
40.
40?
Yeah.
And we asked for 10 extra.
Yeah, exactly.
So we asked for 10 extra. We've gone through a third of our extra.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And having got one.
I mean, we can still make some use out of those.
We haven't got one of them. So yeah, it's a concern.
Yeah.
I've never used hemlock to frame a house, and different trees respond different, and these are definitely cracking.
Yeah.
More than what I'm used to with cedar.
I'm more worried right now about having the bark covering. I think we're gonna have to go at least 12 feet on the height.
Okay, let's do the other one.
I heard that.
Let's do the other one. Okay.
You pulled, yeah.
Everybody all together.
Whoa! Whoa! What was that?
Crack.
Where?
Crack-a-lacka?
Well, we got to pull it.
Probably right here.
You feel it?
Hold
Well,
on.
right here is where it is.
Oh, is it?
Oh, okay.
Alright,
that's
that's not bad.
sustainable. Easy,
Alright,
easy, nice and
Pull
slow.
gently then, right?
Gently.
Let's see.
Gently.
I hear it. Can you tie it there? No. How about there?
There we go.
All right. All right.
Do we have to go to the corner?
No.
To the other one?
Oh, you mean slide it here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Easy.
Just thinking about this other one too. We'll see what happens.
See what happens.
I have a feeling we'll be digging.
Stop talking like that, Steve.
No,
Steve,
I'm
you have
a
to.
realist.
No, you have to talk to the wood.
Well,
Talk to the wood. Say, be gentle, be kind, bend. Bend with me.
I don't like that pole.
Bend with. No, see. The pole feels your hate. Pole feels your hate, and now it's all going to go south here.
Hey,
I was over there talking to the poles.
Pole lives matter, all right?
Yeah.
You guys. The hemlock that we're using today is, like every other wood, has a different breaking point. Cedar itself has a very high breaking point. And hemlock seems to have a higher breaking point as well, but it's slightly different. And so we're finding in some of the more challenging points of the structure where we're really having to ratchet the poles down to get it to wrap around the next pole around it, which gives it its strength. That point is creating tension on these poles, and they're starting to break a little bit. Every wood is different, and so what we've done is we've adapted. We've raised the roof of this structure to be 2 feet higher than what we originally intended. Originally, we wanted a structure that was 12 feet by 10 feet. We've decided to make this one 12 by 12 so that we could work within what this wood will give us. And that's what we have today. That's good, stop. Yeah.
Oh! Is that me? Are you sure?
How big of a bump is it?
It's not that bad.
Okay.
It'll live.
All right.
We're pretty sure that this is the first wetu that's been built in the UK and possibly in Europe as well. I can't find another example of this. It's one of the reasons why we chose it, as well as the fact that it's just a large structure that the community can interact with and enjoy. But this is historic. It really connects with an exhibit that we've helped curate here that's inside, but we wanted to create a structure that really invited the community in, made it a little bit more of a cultural center, and allowed people to really interact with our culture. And so the wetu for us is a great way to do that because people are able to step into it, they're able to experience the space, see the benches, the furs, the way that it was put together, the dome structure that we have. My hope is that by having the wetu here, that not only the people in Bassetlaw have a new appreciation for the impact colonization had on the original inhabitants of the United States, but also as well starts to form a stronger relationship so that we can continue to learn from each other and be great neighbors.
It's taken us several years to get to this moment, from planning and stopping and starting with the pandemic. I'm just over the moon that we've actually made this happen, and we're at the end of an incredible week that's been really special to everyone involved, from the volunteers to the visitors and members of the public and the staff here at the museum as well. It's meant such a lot to us. I think the wetu is going to be a really important symbol for us, as well as something that children, adults, all visitors can engage with. Previously, the Wampanoag story has been easy to kind of get sidelined in previous anniversaries, but now we've got this really tangible reminder that it's their story as much, if not more so, than it is ours.
And we've got just one more song.
Oh yeah.
One more song to sing. And I think it might be one you all know. So if you know it, feel free to join in and sing along. Steve here. Here's Steve. We're going to sing Happy Birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Steve.
Yeah, this was fun.
That was a good time.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
Very old. Well, thanks for joining us. Thanks for helping us embarrass Steve.